Hello everyone of YouTube, I am DJ Stardust, and today I'm in a different room with Black Magic.
Hey.
So, we have no idea what we're doing today, except for
Reading.
yeah. Just tell them
I'm
what we're
reading.
reading today.
Today we are reading 5 things PG-13 movies need to stop doing in sex scenes.
Amazing. I'm here just
To
for
just
shits and
laugh.
giggles.
Yeah, shits and giggles.
So, without further ado, let's start.
Number 5. The sexy clothes drop. You know the scene. A dopey guy is in the same room with an improbably hot female who wants to jump his bones. Instead of leaning in for a kiss or going forward with a full-on embrace, the woman finds herself stripping off all of her clothes in one smooth motion. As the dress drops to the floor, all we see is a pair of comely knees and the slack-jawed expression of the guy who was up to this point completely clueless of this woman's intentions. Without any full-blown nudity, we're left to wonder how magnificent that unseen naked body must be to earn such a dumbfounded expression on the hapless male. It works even in certain R-rated movies that have no explicit sex scenes. In The Big Lebowski, Julianne Moore shows up at the dude's abode unannounced, ready for the physical act of love. After she disrobes, the scene jumps forward past their zesty round of coitus, and we see them relaxing in bed together, and it's left to us to fill in the gaps. Most sexy clothes drops are the same, though sometimes we're given a little more of a visual. You can't see this from here. You don't need to see it. In this Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode, we are treated to Xander's speechless bewilderment at Anya's sudden nudeness. In case you didn't understand what was going to happen after this, that spooging juice box. Spooging.
Spooging.
Spooging. Spooging juice box should give you a hint. Again, it's TV, so we don't see any naughty parts, but we're meant to assume that you ocean spray yourself too if put in his shoes. It's such a bizarre and unrealistic ritual that almost no one has experienced, yet we accept it so the story can move on with the implied ugly bumpin'. In this particular Buffy episode, those bangin' angles belong to a 1,000-year-old former demon without any idea how human sexuality works. That this is the most reasonable explanation thus far says a lot about the sexy clothes drop. Number 4. Extreme side boob. Avoiding nudity is key to coming in under that raw rating. According to the MPAA, nipples are off limits if you want to come in under that R rating, but everything else above the waist is fair game. The first Tomb Raider is PG-13, for instance, but it's got enough side boob to start a war. Bang. You can show every angle of a woman's chest all day, every day, but if an areola slips in there, it's game over. Children of America will writhe in agony the very moment they see a slightly discolored snag of flesh, despite the likelihood of them owning a pair of nipples. And, or at one point, use their mother's memories as a primary source of nourishment. Going PG-13 means you gotta skirt that line. You need to maximize the titillation without making people feel like they should be watching in their computer chair with the sound turned down. Exactly. This happy medium of half nudity has become so common that it's often found in R-rated movies like There's Something About Mary. Whether it was the director's decision to keep Mary's innocence intact or there was a non-nudity clause in Cameron Diaz's contract, frontal boobage was not an option for TSAM. So they went for the next best thing, which is getting one atom away from a nipple and then moving back. Also, the strategically placed arm. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
In the Nicholas Sparks Cryfest, The Best of Me, there's a pivotal moment where a young couple becomes intimate for the first time. It would be
Inconceivable?
No, it's not inconceivable. What the hell is that? Inconceivable?
Let's go with that.
Sure. For movie sex to look enjoyable, so the dude's arm is carefully held in an area that prevents people from being traumatized by the sight of the natural human body. Someone gets shot and dies in The Best of Me. You see the bullet hole in the forehead of his corpse. But thank goodness for that savvy arm placement, or this movie would have been appropriate for minors. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Loading screens. Loading. Almost.
Not quite.
Loaded. Locked and Loaded. Number 3, the Privacy Panaway. A sort of cousin of the sexy clothes drop, the privacy panaway comes when you know two people are about to do the nasty. In the triumph of American cinema, known as Made in Manhattan, J-Lo and Voldemort are about to finally consummate their relationship, but we never actually see him slither in her Hufflepuff. They make out for a second, then the camera suddenly finds something else to do. How convenient! The whole movie has been building up to this point. In romantic comedies, having sex at the end of the movie means you're in love, except it all just fades away. What is supposedly the emotional climax of the movie takes place off screen, like a more infuriating version of No Country for Old Men. The next thing we see is dawn breaking and the loving couple snuggled up in bed. Defying all social conventions, their first time sex was both magical and satisfying. And still, we don't get to see it.
Look, not magical and satisfying for us.
Look, I'm not saying that we need 5 minutes of softcore monster mashing, but if you're running on the very basic and very dumb platform that sex equals love, you should probably show some of it in action. Instead, in almost every romantic comedy, the sex is an afterthought. It might be in part because nudity in movies is also almost always directed at dudes. So maybe there's some sort of false perception any explicit sex scenes would turn it into a movie for guys? Whatever. I'd still watch it. No matter the cause, the camera never thinks to follow kissing lovers to the floor. Hell, a lot of times it will actively pan away from the action to something else. What's more interesting? Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson in the shower, or this dumpy yellow towel hanging on the rack? Though, I guess when people do get down in PG-13 movies, there's always something in the way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is getting interesting. I need more popcorn.
Indeed. Moving on to number 2. Well, this is gonna be fun. While he's gone, we're gonna talk about Joker. He's visiting over there. Actually, he lives there. You're visiting, but that's okay. There's another Joker on the back of the door. Maybe he'll say goodbye. Blah.
Why do you keep reading?
Because. Close the door. This is not a barn! Alright, you're back. Just trim out that part.
Okay.
Alright. And we're back. Number 2, the anti-nudity bedsheet. Female movie stars must regularly coat their nipples in Gorilla Glue because once they hit the sheets, they're never not covered. Take this scene in Goldeneye, for instance. The bedspread is pulled down to Bond's waist, bearing his bodacious barreled chest. But when Natalia climbs on top of him, the sheet clings to her breast like it's made of magnetized saran wrap. Granted, that's after sex. However, the anti-nudity sheet is still on duty during the act itself. Anyone tried actually having sex while wrapped in sheets like that? It's basically another level of birth control, because there's a good chance that any dude is going to end up fucking a fold of 100% cotton instead of the human being he's in bed with. This is what you get when you want to show people doing it, but don't want to scar your audience with what sex actually looks like. It's even crazier in movies that already contain nudity. Titanic. If you remember only one thing from the movie Titanic, it's either the part where that guy hits the ship's propeller, or it's that scene was so funny.
So horrible.
Or it's the scene where Jack draws a nude sketch of Rose. That and the sexy handprint during their steamy romp from within a horseless carriage. Because they're going to do all the riding on their own.
And wrapped in a towel.
You'd figure that whatever magic spell James Cameron employed to get the new drawing scene past the censors would also work when it comes to the sex scene. But nope. There's the anti-nudity bedsheet covering up the naughty parts that 1 billion people saw 10 minutes prior. Previous to this moment, the drawing scene was so sexually charged that Leonardo DiCaprio accidentally told Kate Winslet to get on the couch. Awkward. But nudity was okay because someone had a pencil in their hand. Take the conceit of fine art away, and all you've got is two people engaging in the ultimate expression of human intimacy, which is obviously not something anyone 16 and under should see. I know some of this stuff was borderline before, but for our last entry, we're going to the very edge of what they allow in PG-13. If your job happens to take place in a preschool for nuns, This might get NSFW.
Warning.
That's not you, is it?
This is gonna be a warning. Like, you're gonna have a warning sign right there.
Okay.
Warning: do not go further than this point. Here we go, time. I think.
Dun, dun, dun. Number 1. The conciliatory butt shot.
Oh God.
It's not like filmmakers are completely unaware of the limits of the nudity and sex in their movies. They're just operating within the system set up by the 16th century Puritans that make up the MPAA. So there's not much they can do about sentient bed sheets and ridiculous side boob. Still, sometimes movies throw a bone to the boner prone in the form of a quick butt shot. Take Charlize Theron in Cider House Rules. After having pity sex with Peter Parker, she's butt-ass naked without a censoring bedsheet to be found. When she's roused from her sleep, she doesn't turn around because it's a no-no. Thankfully, the movie saw it fit to add in a conciliatory butt shot to make you feel comfortably scandalized. Again, there are mostly lady butts because of the terrible assumption that movie nudity is for guys, though this was somewhat changed in recent years. For the most part, man butt is played for laughs. So if an R-rated movie deems to show a little flesh, but not a lot, it's usually the posterior of a lady. I'm sure there are some bros out there who went to see Wanted thinking that Angelina Jolie's bullet-bending powers had to translate to a crazy bedroom trick, but they'd be out of luck. Those bros are given a booby prize at the door, or maybe more accurately, the booty prize. On one hand, it's sort of insulting to dole out a flash of skin like the audience is a sex panhandler that will take anything you can give. On the other hand, I did just spend 3 pages complaining about movies that are afraid of depicting sex, all without showing any sex at all. Let's call it even. And that is it.
Well, that was entertaining.
Like my hat.
Yes, very. You should see the many hats she has there.
I have many hats.
They're all over there.
Everywhere. Okay. Hello Kitty says bye-bye.
There's DJ Stardust saying like, comment, subscribe. You guys want to? And check us out for more of our videos. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Turn it up.
Hey yo, DJ, stop the music!
DJ, turn it up.